if you want to look at Africa and hip hop, and then also considering this new wave of African popular music, and somebody who epitomizes like both hip hop and also being of the sound of today, still is still in the mix. I think I definitely I'm top of that list in terms of epitomizing it. So and Mass Appeal being the global home of hip hop, Nas being iconic, somebody who I mean is a co-founder of that label. I think it just makes so much sense. And
That's where I get all my energy from the stage to the studio and to my desk. I am the energy god, and you can be one too.
You're listening to Adeshokbe Live, the Afrobeats podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to a brand new edition of Adeshokbe Live, the official Afrobeats podcast, where I break down the hottest topics in the culture. I'm joined by a celebrity, a superstar in the game, to have a one-on-one conversation with me. As always, if you're just joining us for the first time, where have you been? We need you to stop and click the subscribe button right now. Let's get those numbers going up. The bigger our platform gets, the better we're in position to promote our own culture without waiting for others to do so. We appreciate all the likes and comments. Please, let's keep that going up. This is brought to you by the Energy God Energy Drink. This is for us, by us. So we need you to go to energygod.com. Make sure you place that order. Support the movement, support the culture. It's time for us to start, let's get this dollars back into our own system rather than put it elsewhere. Trust me, this thing tastes better than most of your energy drinks out there. Listen, I'll say it myself, than all of the energy drinks out there. So make sure you go get that right now. And as always, we're supported by Untitled Car Sales. If you're in the UK and you want to buy yourself a brand new car, whatever type of car you want, whether it's to run around, whether it's a VIP car, Jeep, Mercedes, Beamer, anything you want, go to Untitled Car Sales, hit them up and say Shop Sidhu told you to contact them. They'll give you a special advisor that will look at your budget and get you the car of your dreams. Better still, they'll deliver it at your doorstep anywhere in the UK. So go to Untitled Car Sales right now and tell them I sent you. Now, joining me in the studio for the very first time, here in Afromedia Studios in Essex, all the way from Ghana, the west side of Africa, Gold Coast to be exact. Some people call him just an African superstar. Some people call him an African rap star. Others call him the God MC. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my brother, Manifest!
What's good, my brother?
Listen, bro, it's a pleasure to finally have you in the building.
It's a pleasure to be here, man. It's been a long time coming. We've spoken, but not on this platform.
Yeah, not on the platform. We were on radio the last time,
Exactly.
You're getting too much money, so you're very hard to pin down.
No, you are the energy god. You are the one slinging out, product right now, leveraging your fame and passion. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much, my brother. Listen, I think that I say it all the time that if we really want this culture to last, we'll have to learn from hip hop in the States and how it kind of went outside of just music. It became a full culture, from soul food to break dance to the outfits to the alcohol brands. And I think we have to do that. You being a student of the hip hop game,
absolutely.
First of all, how are you doing and how have you been?
I'm great, man. I'm very grateful. I'm feeling very graceful. I'm feeling very confident. I'm feeling very like things are all aligned in the right way. So I'm blessed, bro.
Listen, I said being a student of the hip hop game, you've never changed from day one. Like even though the culture was moving this way, Afrobeat swinging that way, this, that, and the third, you kept it thorough all through. How hard has that been?
Not difficult because, not changing doesn't mean not growing. One thing, I constantly grow, right? But growing in my own way, growing in my own level of innovation. And the beauty of how the scene has evolved is that it actually encourages growth, is why I see.
Facts.
Because you see doors being broken down that under the African popular music umbrella allows all of us to be able to go in. You understand? Whether it's Afrobeats, Amapiano, whatever name you want to put to it. So it hasn't required me to become like everybody else. It's required me to innovate more. which I love because that's the core piece of what I do as a musician. So of course people know me as a lyricist, but I think the core fan base that I've built known me to be an innovative sound maker, right? So my ability from the beginning has always been able to be lyrical, be hip hop, but also beautifully measured with African music. So as African music keeps flourishing, it gives me more source material to be
Absolutely.
able to really create incredible bodies of work. So for me, I don't find it as difficult. I've actually found it very um what's the word? It's been very exciting
Mm.
because I started my career in the States, and I at that time I was very adamant about my African identity even as a hip hop artist, right? And when even to be fair, even musicians on the continent were even more making what was abroad.
Listen, we were from New York.
Yeah. But I knew a day was coming that
African pride.
African identity and the music was going to like cream rise to the top. I just didn't know it was going to come this quick. I thought it was going to be more gradual. So for me, imagine me, somebody who's always believed, as much as I'm a hip hop, I believed in African music and its ability to evolve and grow into something new and fresh, seeing it actually blossom like this and being part of it. So the fact that I'm not doing the same way everybody does has never been a problem. It's because I do think there's space for it. When you wake up in the morning, you might not want to listen to boom boom. When you're in the afternoon in your car, there's different things you want to listen to. Adele doesn't have a club song, bro. I mean, this. So for me, I've never thought there being a limitation to being different. I think that the African music scene requires quality of different, diverse sounds. But we are all united in the fact that you can identify with where we are from, whether somebody's rapping, whether they are scatting, whether they are doing it with a bit of reggae or they are doing it with R&B. As you can see, whether it's all these other genres are fusing together and have in contemporary African music. So being able to do that as well, like myself, the likes of myself and Show Them Camp and other African hip hop acts that have also embraced African music as part of the aesthetic of what we put out hip hop wise. It's beautiful to see, to be part of what's going on. So no, it's not been difficult. It's not changing in terms of being your authentic self doesn't mean not growing. So I have not changed in terms of my authenticity, but I've grown. Yeah.
So you would be an artist that would be considered. You mentioned one of my favorite rap duos of all time in SDC, Show Them Camp there. Alongside the likes of Show Them Camp will be artists that will be put in a category where you've got a cult fan following, regardless of whether you've had your mainstream success or whatever. But you guys have a core fan base that has been consistent with your career all along. Now, the perception in the past was that cult followed artists sometimes don't make that much bread. But you and I both know that this is fallacy.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, first of all, do you agree that you have a cult following you're in that box of artists? And second of all, does having a cult fan base translate to enjoying a lavish lifestyle?
Yeah, it's not even a box. I mean, just to even put it, it's not even a box. It's actually a very free thing to not have to follow what's going on if you are growing a base. Now, the funny thing about this idea of a cult fan base is actually that's what music industry is based on.
Facts.
Right? Whether it's selling tickets, streaming, so that it doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter if tomorrow they say it's reggaeton. You are building a base where people will patronize your work. So it's like, look at it as any kind of product. I hate to put it in this very stark, but let's do that so that people can understand. Anything that you're selling in this life, right, cannot be determined by how the mainstream loves it, in the sense of the fact that, let's say you're selling products, soda or anything, or energy drinks, right? So just because like 200 million people are not talking about it should not mean that maybe you can't sell it to 2 million people, right? So this idea of a cult base, having an artist who's building a cult fan base being like some unique thing is weird, because that's actually what even the most mainstream artists usually build.
What they want.
Build, not once, builds to get to the level where you can play a stadium, you have to be building gradually what is a cult fan base. Then the casuals can come and go. So I think in terms of the business proposition of it, I think if nothing at all, you get longevity beyond anything else, bruh. Because this music different things come and go, hits, misses, etc. But bruh, what happens when you haven't released music in 3 years? Are there people who can still binge on your catalog as they are binging on Wu-Tang's catalog, as they are binging on Asha's catalog, or whoever it is? You understand? That is what maybe the cult fan base is. Yeah, so I'd love to keep on building that till the day that I hang it up, because last, without
everybody go chop his fan.
yeah. last, the value proposition of having a cult fan base is huge. I mean, when a brand comes to me, and I've been a brand ambassador for banks, I've worked with Hennessy, I've done so much of that because I actually have traction amongst real people. Right? It's not just
on social media. No, but like
no, social media is real. I'm not trying to.
Real.
I'm just saying real people in the sense of the fact that people who are not casuals. Look, there are a lot of people casually consume art, bro.
Yes.
You understand?
Absolutely.
And if you are fortunate, and I'm not trying to down anything, there's so many ways to skin a cat. Hey, animal rights people, be careful, don't say anything. But if you're fortunate, for instance, and you come through and you have a mega global hit, right? Great, you might be able to build a house, etc. There's a value proposition there.
Yes.
But it doesn't guarantee a career.
Yes.
For instance, right? So a lot of people might struggle to have a career after that, unlike some people who've succeeded. So if for those of us whose work has been gradual, is the trajectory of build up, add every year you add on top. Yes, the cult building and growing a fan base is very essential for us in our business model. Because we can see the direct correlation in our ability to eat.
You're probably about quite number of projects in now.
Yeah.
Solid bodies of work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is 2025. You've got a brand new project out. Talk to me about the evolution, your personal evolution.
Yeah.
In those projects that you've put out over the years to where you are now in 2025.
Absolutely. Excellent. So when I began in the US. So my first 3 projects I released whilst in the US. You can tell the difference. But then when I relocated back home, back to the source. You understand? You go see the thing enter, bro. Even my communication, because then now you're seeing it more fluid. Me going in between English, pidgin, and tree is so fluid easily, because that's how you communicate when you're there. You understand? So you can tell. So I would say that, around 2016 is when you really see the turn of like Manifest becoming. I hate speaking about myself in third person. Yeah. When you see me becoming somebody whose intention and execution I've met. You understand? So if you look at the artwork, everything from then on is on a quality and standard that I always wanted from the beginning. So I'm an artist that's 360. Whether it's the rollout, the aesthetics, the visuals, etc., has to come together to make sense. You understand? You're not going to see me on a random day and then all of a sudden, if I see people, I have to run into the house and come and look like man. No, hi,
Manifest is 24/7 manifest.
You get me? Yeah. You see, so fast forwarding now that I released a new album, New Road and Guava Trees, is what is happening is the execution is getting better, right? I'm really getting more innovative. I'm really knowing how to okay, this is a global facing game now. What does it look like for an artist like myself who's been into now do something new that is still of my authentic self? And that's what this new album represents. It was one of my best executed albums. Yeah.
First of all, the title just struck me. New Road and Guava Trees. I'm like, talk about art.
Yeah.
In the title itself.
Yeah.
There's artistic expression there.
Yeah.
Why New Road and Guava Trees?
Yeah, I mean, New Road and Guava Trees because it's a double entendre. As a rapper, I have to.
You always have to.
The first thing was the intention behind the album was, I really wanted to take a new path. It was time for me to be like, yo, let's level up. Not that I don't level up before, but I was like, yo, I really want to tip over the tipping point. This is a precipice moment for me. And so I want to take a new road. And I want to make a fruitful climb, so Guava Trees. But also, I grew up in a neighborhood called Medina New Road. and there was a guava tree in my house growing up. So I like the fact that when I have an intention, it's also relates to a personal memory. So it gives me that ginger because it's like, yes, growing up in Medina New Road, it's also like we are people who believe to go forward in the future, you have to look to the past. You have to have an understanding. And so for me, it's always dope that when I start plotting my envisioning my next steps, there's always a
Something
past
to
trigger.
pull.
Yeah, to pull from. So that's why New Road and Guava Trees is really about, newness and being able to make that fruitful climb. Yeah.
You partnered with an important stable
Yes,
on
sir.
this project. When I saw the stuff and I saw Mass Appeal,
Mhm.
straight away the names that come out of that is the iconic Nas.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about how this partnership in the first place.
Mhm.
This is a dream collab
Absolutely.
for
Absolutely.
a rapper from anywhere in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to me about how this partnership came about.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things that when it was presented to me, I'm like, wow, this should have happened a long time ago. It fits like, it fits better than OJ's glove. It fits like, it's like white on rice. It's like handkerchief and highlights. I mean, bro, yeah, no, but after the album was done or the first iteration, what happens is you start circulating around some of the industry folks, and so we're looking for a distro and whatever. And one of the homies, I need to ask him permission to start naming him. I don't know whether he wants me to name him, but he's a Nigerian homie actually. Funny,
Yeah.
one of the Nigerian homies actually realized that Mass Appeal was trying to expand. Mass Appeal is the global home of hip hop. So they've made great moves, not just in the States, but in India and other places.
Crazy, yeah.
So now they wanted to take another step, and he had heard the album and he knew what they wanted to do, and he kind of made the introduction. And I remember I was actually the launch to make it happen here in London.
No way.
It happened. It's so funny. It happened the day that I appeared at Burna Boy's African Giant anniversary show that you were at. It happened the day. Yes, it happened the afternoon off and everything.
And
but
everything got sealed.
Everything got sealed that day, bro. So it was beautiful because I think it was a marriage meant to happen. Because if you want to look at Africa and hip hop, and then also considering this new wave of African popular music, and somebody who epitomizes like both hip hop and also being of the sound of today, is still in the mix. I think I definitely I'm top of that list in terms of epitomizing it. So and Mass Appeal being the global home of hip hop, Nas being iconic, somebody who I mean, is a co-founder of that label. I think it just makes so much sense, and I couldn't be happier to have had this marriage happen now that I wanted to take a new road. It's like, this is the perfect. And I named the album even before Mass Appeal. So it's almost like sometimes you manifest these things, bro. You understand? I'm like, yo, I need to take this new road. I need to take a new, and then this Mass Appeal thing happens, and I'm like, yo, perfect. Yeah.
Listen, man, you touched briefly on a partnership that you also have, a friendship that has not only manifested on hit records, but of course, we've seen this for years. Burna Boy.
Yeah, big shout out.
You had an incredible couple of records with the brother.
Yeah.
And one that I actually still listen to today in another story.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that friendship, that partnership, because it's not business.
Yeah, nah, beyond that, man, it's always dope for me. When you see people from a distance, I always thought this guy is incredible. Like before the thing turned into the global thing. I mean, he was always a star, obviously. I always thought he was incredible. And I think the first connection was made between, shout outs to Namix, Mama Bosse made a connection to make an introduction through my manager as well years ago. But it didn't really kind of happen because we didn't meet. But when we eventually met, man, it was really great vibes. He came to play my festival and Accra Mani festivities, and during the African Giant period, he was in Ghana quite a bit.
Yeah.
We built, it was just dope. Like, we just built a rapport, not just him, his whole family. They're all dope people. So sometimes it's just right. Just be a dope, genuine human being, and also be dope at what you do artistically. And so then that connection is there. So big up, man. It's just been beautiful watching, and also just being in that kind of rapport with him. Yeah, man, it's beautiful, man. I mean, I really respect that brother and his whole fam, and like how they've they've carried this thing on another level, man. I think everybody needs to observe that. But beyond that, I'm also grateful like to have gone through this journey and built a lot of, like on the album you see like Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers is on there.
Yeah.
So I've been able to build like genuine relationship with some of these incredible global superstars, partly because I also come in as my genuine self. It's not everything. People focus too much on taking. A lot of relationships are based on people wanting to
take something,
bro,
not
like,
wanting
what
to
are you
bring
giving
something to the table.
Yeah. And so because I don't walk into rooms that way. I mean, I wasn't raised that way. And I also, even though it's a capitalist world, I know that value for value is a better thing than trying to take and not give. You get me? So I think a lot of these friendships that I have in music, or that came through music, is partly because of this attitude in life. It's not about just taking, bro. It's actually, before taking, what are you giving? You understand? And just going genuine. Like, another story was not planned in terms of recording.
That song.
You understand? It's like man's is hanging out. You understand? Labadi Beach Hotel, whatever kind of thing. Cause beats was being played, and so when you have a good rapport, dope music can always happen. I'm not saying that is the only requirement.
Yeah.
I made music with people that I don't have a tight bond with, but I think when you have a good rapport with somebody,
Great
and you
music
both
comes out of
respect
that.
each other for being genuine, and you're both talented, a lot of times amazing can happen.
Yeah, because one of the most powerful lines on another story was the fact that same shit, Ghana, Niger,
Mantaya,
like
straight.
the big man has the motorcade.
Yeah,
It's the
you know
same.
what I mean?
It's the same
Yes.
thing.
So I think a lot of times we have to focus on what brings us together and not what separates us, right? And that's what a lot of these things are built on, a lot of relationships. So whether it's from Ghana, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Nigeria, all these, and then Europe, US, people are so focused on their differences that sometimes a lot of genuine relationships are not built. I'm not focused on that. I'm a worldly man. I don't even lie, and I think that's one of my superpowers too. Is that as deeply rooted in Africa as I am, I also see myself as a worldly man I'm not a person who goes to impose, but who goes to learn. I will share myself. I'm also not a person who goes to assimilate either, right? So a lot of and man, relationships will take you much further than the budget will.
1,000%.
Honestly, because 99% of people will never have enough budget to do the things they want to do. But great relationships, genuine ones, that have quid pro quo, that have reciprocity, that's not about taking, can really amplify it so much. You understand? I mean, I came here with two people that are helping do content and all stuff. Lots of these things come because it's great relationships where somebody will leave from another side of the UK and be like, yo, I'll come through, whatever.
I'll come hold you
You
down.
understand? And so people don't understand that about the music thing. So, and I think it's quite important. Be genuine and have good relationships, not just because you can get something from it.
Absolutely. I think that's one thing that we need to start teaching the young folks that. Now, with the album, I saw collaborators like King Promise, Ara the J.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at this list of collaborators. You mentioned the guitarist from Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's an iconic.
Yeah, the basses, Flea. I mean, Flea is so iconic, yeah.
That's an iconic band, an iconic group right there.
It's a stadium group right there.
How did you select your collaborators? Because if you're looking at King Promise, Ara the J,
the Caveman,
the Caveman.
Yeah. No, I'm led by the music. I think that's one thing that I've tried to do. I'm led by the music first. Like when I start creating, and then it leads me to people. And then it's also started moving around. And a lot of the album was recorded in Seattle, LA. So if I'm in LA, then I might happen to get to Flea's house, play him some records, and then the idea might come to, oh, can you jump on this? So part of it is, one, the music leading me to people, and two, just the intention of just sometimes moving around. A lot can happen when you move around. A lot of, so I'm not saying, so I don't necessarily start a project and say, I want to work with these people. The music has to speak to inspire that a little bit.
Makes the selection.
Yeah,
the music makes
really
the selection.
does. It really does. And it goes to show, because like I am very confident in the bodies of work I produce. I can say that very confidently, that if you want to be objective, you can't go and listen to a Manifest album and just be like, this is not like top tier of Africans making albums. I'm
Mm.
an album artist. I've
Yeah.
been a single artist. My global hit is coming, but it hasn't come.
Yeah.
But before that, I have so much pride in how creating these bodies of work.
And then you
So-
make projects that when you listen from the first record, from the first note, you can confidently just play the whole thing through.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's
And,
difficult
yeah.
nowadays for a lot of artists.
It is, but it also comes with the fact that it's not a solo endeavor, right? So one of the things I did, the first thing I did, or one of the first few things I did after me and my manager spoke about this, was call a friend of mine, Budo, who to basically co-captain this thing with me. So even though other producers like Guilty Beats produce a song with me
Yeah,
and
I've
Kim
seen
Promise, other producers are involved, I had one co-captain.
Like an executive
Yes.
producer made sure
So that everything is cohesive. You understand? So that we can, because sometimes too, you know, you can emotionally fall in love with certain things that you create that might have no business being on that body of work.
I say it all the time. Like I say it all the time to musicians. Like, yo, you're an artist, you're a creator, you're an artist. You fall in love with certain type of records, but you have to allow, you know, the A&Rs and the business people to help you to put some of these things together, because there's some songs that might be better off on a different project than
Yeah,
this one.
I'll push back on that a little
Yeah,
bit. I'll push
because
back
you're
on
a
that.
creator.
no,
That's
no,
the
no, not,
problem.
not just because I'm a creative. For instance, not every business person has any business selecting songs.
Yeah, no.
Not every business person,
Yeah,
but a lot of business people think that they have
Yeah.
that because they've had last. Oh, this one sounds like that one, so it will be a hit. No, not every. They're the most successful A&Rs and music execs like that. A lot of them have come from creative backgrounds.
Yes.
And also just are skilled at that. So first and foremost, every artist and every exec has to not be delusional about their prowess.
1000%.
An artist like myself is so engrossed and obsessive with my work. I'm a curator. Like I'm an A&R.
You already know how
You
to
understand?
create your
But
thing.
even I will also go to somebody else with the same, if not more, of that prowess, so that when our powers combine, it's madness. You understand?
Superpower.
So that's my thing, because I obsess over these things. I
Mm.
love. That's why when I stared working with an IR DJ a long time ago. Before, same thing with Promise, obviously. Right?
Yeah.
I work with someone. Yeah. So because I obsessively love
And
music,
the sound is
so
so different. Like
Exactly.
R&J's voice
my
on
God,
your record, that's like
damn, my wine,
crazy, bro.
wine
Like,
and blues,
it
man.
wakes you up. Like it's
Yeah.
sonically,
Yeah,
it's just so different. Like and
Absolutely.
it just makes the record that much better.
yeah.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask you is, of course, now Manifest, you're making this incredible bodies of work. You're having a great time around the world. Do you miss battling? Do you miss that hip hop energy that we had that was kind of like electrifying, that shut down the whole scene?
I mean,
Sarkodie, Manifest. Do you miss those moments where you
Nah, man.
have somebody to target?
nah, it came and went. I mean, it was a moment in time,
Mm.
and I proved my point. And also, look, the game needs that sometimes,
Mm.
but it shouldn't be contrived. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, obviously, if you're a hip hopper, I think it's important that, yeah, it doesn't matter what your hip hop is, whether it's melodic, whether it's whatever. It's important that you embrace the spirit of competition.
Mm.
The problem, obviously, is that negativity, a lot of negativity
We
can
will now
surround
go
that.
into it.
Fan bases can insult each other. But we've seen from Afrobeats that it's not just hip hop. Fan bases will still insult themselves anyway. But all that to say, no, the short answer to your thing is nah. But I'm always sharp with a pen. You know what I mean? So it makes me move around very confidently, that I'm not interested in sort of beef, but I'm not averse to it. but also now I'm a bit of like, I'm like almost a mentor to some of the youngest and stuff. I also have to comport myself a little differently. Like, of course, I still, like, you might see me in a Hennessy cypher just barring down, but I'm less interested in like repeating some of the things I've done in the past. I'm battle tested. People can go and see that. You can check.
It's there.
Yeah, I don't need to do that again. You know what I mean? It's not necessary. I might have half a bar or two for a person if they decide. But now beyond that, now I think it's important for me to scale different levels so that the ones coming after me see that, yo, it's not possible. It's not just possible to have a career this way. It's possible to potentially reach the highest of heights doing this way. So that's my challenge now. I have challenges of my own to conquer that the beef or battle has nothing to do with. I will not be shy to say that this is an album that is intentionally global facing in a way in which I want to scale some of the levels I've never done before, and I'm intentionally done that. So those are the bigger challenges I'm trying to scale, not to beef, but to whoever. I mean, it's part of the thing, but like I'm saying, you know, you can check the rest. You know what I mean, how far?
You've got a show in London coming up.
Yeah, May 21st.
May 21st. Is this going to be replicated elsewhere as well?
Yeah. So we are going to announce more shows in Europe and hopefully Africa. You see, when I did PR rounds in South Africa and in Kenya as well, some partly to fertilize the soil to try and do shows in some of those places too. So yeah, we're going to announce more shows, but this show in London on May 21st at Colours Hoxton is the first New Road and Guava Tree show, and I'm very excited. London is the perfect place for that. You guys have sort of been a very great cultural space for the modern African music. So it's not just for one kind of African music, whether it's Amapiano, whether it's Afrobeats, whether it's hip-hop mixed with Afrobeats, high life, etc. So I'm glad that the first New Road and Guava Trees show is going to be in London. You know what I mean? Because I think it will show the world what's this new iteration of Manifest is bringing.
How far? Yes, you. If you're a Nigerian in diaspora, this message is for you. Did you know that you can open a bank account in Nigeria without stepping foot in the country? Yes, you can. If you're based in the UK, USA, Europe, or Canada, you can open a bank account in Nigeria easily. How, you might ask? It's called Non-Resident Bank Verification Number. It's a game changer for Nigerians abroad. All you have to do is go to the NRBVN website, register, get your number, and voila, you're ready to open a bank account with Wema Bank easily. And guess what? Wema Bank has made it 100% digital, which makes it seamless, no stress, no hassle. Once you get your non-resident bank verification number, you download the Alert app, the first fully digital bank in Nigeria, and you can start transacting in minutes. All you have to do is register or onboard, and this process takes less than 5 minutes. No stress, no queues, no paperwork, just you, your telephone, and Wema Bank. And there's more. With the Alert app, Nigerians in diaspora can do so much more. You can take full control of your finances back home. You can save in Naira and earn high interest rates with Alert Goals. You can send money to loved ones back home, or you can invest in opportunities that keep you connected with the growth in Nigeria. So it's all about staying financially empowered. You can open a Wema Bank account anywhere in the world today and start enjoying the full benefits of banking the Niger way.
The Afrobeats Podcast.
Yes.